paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha, and I love Hawaii. Absolutely. Every time I hear that, it brings the greatest smile of all time to my face. And my husband, Roy Sakamoto, here today in the studio, and we're going to do a little real estate. We're going to have Norm Estin from Doctors on Call, Dr. Estin, going to check in with us and filling us in again on what we ought to be doing pandemic-wise and the future. So I think he's got some really great advice, and we might talk about a little of that before we get him on the phone.
Yeah. So welcome to Betty's Real Estate Corner.
Betty's Real Estate Corner. That makes me kind of smile and laugh too.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. We've been doing it off and on for quite a few years now, and it's been fun.
Well, going back to Sakamoto Property days.
Yep. Well, most of our career has been Sakamoto Properties until just before the pandemic, when we entered into what was referred to as a merger acquisition with Coldwell Banker, and we're now over a year and a half almost into that, and that's been pretty spectacular. We ended up moving our offices to Kapalua. We're located at 700 Office Road, and it's really great. We're in the middle of the finest restaurants on the resort. So we are happy campers.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
And real estate could not be better, so that turned out to be unbelievable for all of us.
And actually, I think we have two new listeners today. John and
that's right.
Nushin. Darvish, welcome. Aloha.
Roy's been talking to them, met them before I did, but yesterday John and Roy and I had lunch, and it was one of those perfect meetings. It's hard to even describe it. We talked about everything, just everything. And it would almost have been fun to have been able to do some of that bouncing around, because we were talking about things that could make a difference in the world. The littlest things. And it got down to, and it's hard, I guess, without having been in the middle of the conversation, but how sometimes you just say hello to someone, you're passing someone on the street, and you give a wave, you say hello, you try to make a little bit of eye contact, and if you could do that all the time, there's so often, it makes a difference in somebody's life. They've been acknowledged.
Absolutely.
And the more we would acknowledge one another, I think it could solve almost the problems of the world. And I know that sounds idealistic or something, but I think it matters. I mean, sometimes I've been like in an airport and sat and talked to someone, and it just happens, the person next to you, and you start a conversation, and I mean, in a lot of cases I was alone in the airport, or I probably wouldn't have been doing that, but I maybe would have been with my husband. But the more I talk to them, you realize they really needed somebody that day to talk to. And you walk away feeling like maybe you changed a life just a little bit.
Sure.
So let's all do that. I mean, again, it sounds so simple, but let's remember to say hi, and especially to someone that maybe is a little different than you are. We aren't all the same, obviously. I'm in a room right now with 4 people. We are all totally different. Of course, I'm the only girl, but that would be the biggest difference. But it's still interesting because we're all the same.
Well, hopefully we can have John and maybe Nushin as guests.
That would be really
one of our
amazing.
shows. Yeah.
She is a doctor, holistic. She's a holistic specialist, and I haven't met her yet. But after spending time with him, I'd really love to be meeting her. They've got, I think, 3 kids.
Right.
And anyway, it's kind of hard, and I'm rambling on it
hopefully,
now.
soon to be added to our Maui community.
Yeah, that would be really great.
Even as part-time residents.
They would make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, let's all do that. For at least, let's try today to make a difference. And maybe it's just the smile thing, the hello, the wave, the tip of the hat, as they used to say. But whatever it is, let's all do something. Let's try to make a difference. And when you're kind to someone, even if it's just a smile back, they're kind to you, and you leave happy. So let's
Yeah.
all be happy.
Maybe more so during these pandemic days where people are a little bit tense anyway, and maybe more careful as far as eye contact or whatever, but maybe just a wave or a hello, that goes a long way.
I could almost bounce off the walls with it right now.
You do.
I do, I know. But there's just something. Let's all just give it a shot today and tomorrow and as long as we can. Because it will matter. Even your children, if they see you doing something, they'll kind of do the same thing. And maybe remind kids, at school, tomorrow, the next day, to be kind to someone, or when they're not feeling so good. Sometimes if you're just kind to somebody else, you feel a lot better and everything is better. So should we do real estate just because it'll get me off of this for a minute? But
Well, we are a real estate show, but we are waiting for Dr. Norm to call in, give us an update on the COVID happenings on Maui and vaccinations and so forth. Norm has been more than generous with his time and sharing with us, so we're looking forward to his phone call.
there's another person who I would say changes lives one person at a time. And not necessarily medically, although I think he is a fabulous doctor. He's a board-certified internist, has had a general practice here on Maui forever, doctors on call. And he's been really great, but he's so upbeat, and he'll do the littlest thing. He recently brought into my office a little orange juice can with a string on it.
Yeah.
So that I could reach someone easily. I'd always be able to reach someone. Now, he just has the funniest sense of humor, but he didn't even tell me it was there. I had to find it myself. He hung it next to my desk, and all of a sudden I look at it, what is that? But Norm makes a difference a person at a time. Whether he walks in to pick up coffee, walks in our office, he's always got a great attitude, he's happy, and he's busy all the time, and he changes lives.
Well, he does a lot for the community, not only during pandemic times, but I know he volunteers for the Century Tournament of Champions. He's the tournament doctor, so he gives all of his free time helping out for the tournament, also for the Maui Basketball Classic.
That's
the
right.
Maui Gym Basketball Classic. He's the doctor on court, and donates a lot of free time to Maui.
And single-handedly, not really single-handedly, but I feel like he has made a difference in the whole vaccination process for Maui County. He would do anything to be sure that we're all getting vaccinated, that we're all understanding the process. And yet I've seen him talk to someone who's saying they will never get vaccinated and trying to fight their cause. And he also is very tolerant. He has the ability to kind of say, that is kind of the point in a way of the possible herd immunity, is that somebody can make that decision, and that we do all have to be trusting of the world the way it goes. But I still think I want to say, let's all get vaccinated. There's a reason for it, and to even get to herd immunity, it's going to take a lot of us. We got vaccinated the minute we were able to, and I would kind of say to everybody, do the same thing. Let's get vaccinated. Let's feel like we're as safe as we can be here on Maui. Anyway, should we do a real estate moment?
Well, is that Norm on the phone right now?
Nope.
Nope, not yet. Nope.
Oh, maybe.
I think so.
Is that Norm on the phone? Dr.
Hey,
Norm?
aloha.
Whoa, ho, ho. We were just talking about
Aloha.
you. Aloha. So what's the word? What's the good word on vaccinations, on the medical world, on Maui? And we've just been bragging on you.
Well, this is great. I think Betty's Real Estate Corner is the only show around, I know, that has their own private custom coronavirus periodic update. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fantastic. The news is very good. We're doing great. The country is doing great, and Maui and Hawaii are doing wonderful. We're vaccinating up people, and very slowly getting there. The rate is slowed down a little bit the last couple of weeks, but still very progressive. And I think we're going to be very safe here, probably 6 weeks or so for Maui and Hawaii. Nationally, the data are very optimistic as well. And I think the key thing here is what's happening is that science and medical knowledge are finally being listened to. And people are starting to understand that the only possible way to fight and prevent the spread of this thing and get our lives back to normal is with this vaccine. Nothing else is going to work. So we're at a situation now where nationwide, as of today, we actually have 4 in 10 adults are fully vaccinated. That means they've either gotten 2 shots of the Moderna or the Pfizer or 1 shot of the J&J, Johnson & Johnson. And 7 in 10 seniors, the most vulnerable population, are fully vaccinated. So this is very good. And these people have virtually eliminated their risk of getting COVID or of spreading it, which is fantastic. And it's just very heartening to see how many people are starting to realize, hey, I can protect myself about this. And the opposite, of course, is unfortunately true, that everybody that has unfortunately died from COVID here, even as of the last few days in this country, have only one thing in common, that they never got a vaccination. So I think people are starting to realize, hey, we got to do this, and that we're all going to be safer. We realize that if you're vaccinated, everything's safer. You can go out with friends. You can go to a restaurant, a graduation. You can go shopping. You can go to work. And if anything, if you watch television, the scenes from around the world with the devastation in India and other countries is terrible. The risk of being unvaccinated is just too high. So,
Norm, a minute ago you said something that I think really is critical for us to all understand and be proud of ourselves. Not only in getting the vaccination did we protect ourselves, but we protect our community. So it's not just about me, it's about all of us. So each one of us that have done that, we've protected our community. And that's what someone's going to be doing when they get their vaccination. Everyone has to do it.
Right. You're absolutely right, Betty. And we protect them in a couple of ways. One, we're less likely to be carriers and spread it. And likewise, we're going to be less likely to be part of an outbreak that's going to devastate the whole community or the healthcare system of the hospital. And the other thing is that the more people are vaccinated, the fewer of these variants there are. And some of you may have heard about these variants that are the last few weeks. The coronavirus that causes this COVID mutates or changes its DNA, and that's normal for a virus to do in real life. And these changed versions are called variants. And the problem with these is that some of them spread more rapidly and make people sicker than the original COVID. And some of them attack younger people more than older people. That's what we've been seeing the last month or two. So the people getting sick from COVID are younger people. So if we vaccinate people, they're not going to spread the virus at all. And in particular, they're not going to be spreading these variants that are causing problems, in particular, causing what's called the long COVID. And you've heard about this. We've had probably now about a third of the people getting sick that have been gotten sick this whole last year and a half have symptoms for many, many months and probably the rest of their life, the so-called long COVID or long haulers. Kalani English, our legislator, in fact, retired early this last Friday, as everybody knows from reading the newspaper or watching the news, because he had a little bit of brain fog, which is publicly recognized and known. So I'm not divulging any confidential information from his long COVID. He said, hey, I'm not going to be able to work. So this is something you don't want to get, and you can prevent it fairly easily. So you're protecting yourself and you're protecting the community. It's safe. It's effective. I think the other thing that people don't realize is that if you've been vaccinated, that you can do things. You can travel. You can get on a plane. You can go to a neighbor island. You can go to the mainland. You can go to a foreign country. You can go to a concert. You can go to a big function if you've got proof of your vaccination. Eventually, you will have a vaccination card. So that's an important thing. But in addition, if you get exposed to somebody now who's positive, you have to quarantine. Okay, so let's say you somebody is with somebody who happens to test positive. The county and the state will track you down and say, well, you've been exposed, you got to quarantine for 10 days. However, if you've been vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine because you're resistant to getting it. So that's a tremendous advantage because we still have some of this in the community, and we still have people coming in on airplanes that are bringing in some cases, although a very small number. So there's really no downside to getting vaccinated. People worry about, are there side effects? Well, every now and then somebody feels a little fluish or a little achy after the second shot in particular. And then, of course, but those all go away right away. And I've personally supervised, I think, 7,000 of these things, and I've not seen any significant reactions. And then people say, well, how about the long-term side effects? We don't know about those. And the answer is, even though this has only been out for a few months, and in development here close to about 8 or 10 months, that historically, any significant long-term side effect gets seen in the first 6 to 10 weeks. So in other words, in 2 to 3 months, we know immediately if there's going to be any bad side effect that's going to be long-term. And that's been true for every vaccine ever developed. So we've had these out now for close to 6 months, and there's no indication of any long-term effect at all. There's obviously certainly a long-term effect of getting COVID, and you don't want that. So this may well turn out to be one of the safest vaccines ever developed in the history of mankind. It's phenomenal. And to have it rolled out so fast in the United States is a blessing. We should feel very, very thankful. We're going to be protected on this island by the end of July, in this whole country by the end of the year, and that's phenomenal. The rest of the world is going to be way behind. Probably the third world and underdeveloped areas, they probably won't be vaccinated and protected until 2024.
I think you're right, Norm, but again, as a country, don't you think it's going to be important that we step up, whatever we have, and we share it in any way that we can with every country that we can? If we can come up with it, we need to, it's got to be international. It can't just be one country or a few countries. It has to end up everywhere, or it will never go away.
Well, that's absolutely true. And, the virus doesn't care about national borders. The virus doesn't care, what race you are, what language you speak, if you're rich or you're poor. It's a virus. These things are in the air. They float around. They're oblivious to, who you are or where you are.
No,
so,
absolutely.
If we're going to control this thing, we've got to do it internationally. And I think the Biden administration has taken a big step this last couple of days by liberating some of the patent protection on these
absolutely
these vaccines.
That's feeling good to me.
Yeah. But what about supplies on Maui, Norm?
The supplies on Maui, Roy, are going great. Initially, we had some shortages, and as you remember, back in January and February, there was much more demand than supply. Now we really have an unlimited supply of all 3 vaccines, the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson & Johnson. And in addition, you can find them everywhere. You can find them at doctor's offices, pharmacies, workplaces, churches. Soon they'll be in schools. The Department of Health is still doing clinics once or twice a week at University of Hawaii Maui College. There's a bunch of community organizations that are putting on vaccination clinics. A bunch of restaurants and hotels are hosting them themselves to get the hospitality part of the community back to work so we can return to normal. So there's vaccine everywhere. As a matter of fact, CVS today just announced you don't need an appointment. You just walk in and they'll get you one. So it really couldn't be easier to get one anywhere.
Fantastic.
Well, I guess it's probably time we try to do a little real estate, Dr. Norm. Now, Dr. Norm has real estate, so we're okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Happy to check in. All good news, and we're moving forward.
Thanks so much for calling in, Norm. Thank you very, very much for all of the community. Thank you. Aloha.
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 So here we go. Now, that really makes a difference, I think, for a lot of people. If you hear that and you think about it, get vaccinated.
No excuse.
No excuse. Just do it. And
It's widely available. Just
it's the Nike way.
Yep.
Just do it.
just do it.
Just do it. Okay. Anyway, so back to real estate. I was noticing just a listing. We usually carry some stuff over with us and are talking on the way. But at Napili Ridge, there's a listing, $215,000. It's a small one-bedroom, and it's leasehold, so that you would have to, at some point, hopefully the fee would be available for you. Whoever owns it chose to not get it. But the fact that lease rent is $420 a month, which is a lot. But you can also do short-term rentals there, which has been really an amazing small property. You can walk to the ocean, etc. And Jacob Pike is the co-lister on that. So I just thought when I saw that, Jacob would love to know that we're thinking about him. He is one of the younger younger agents at Coldwell Banker, and we're really proud of him. He's Elizabeth Quayle's grandson. You can reach Jacob at 450-8454, 850-8454.
There's no excuse for not getting vaccinated. Right now, there's really no excuse for not buying real estate. It's a heck of a market. It's a robust market. We've never seen anything like this before. Interest rates are fantastic.
They're really still historically low.
Right. And there's no excuse for not buying anything. And a lot of people are also looking at moving up, selling their current condo or smaller home and moving up, bigger condo, bigger home. And here's one in Kaanapali Hillside. It's at 13 North Peaky. It's a 4-bedroom, 3 baths. It's 2,559 square feet. Home was built in 2003, and it's fantastic. It's 17, 18 years old, but in great condition. Marcy Rohde has this listing. Marcy Rohde with Coldwell Banker, our Kapalua office, and her number is 280-2255. Call Marcy and ask her about 13 North Peaky Place.
Here's another one. Kahana Sunset is listed right now by Kristen Kingwell. Her website is ownmaui at kristenkingwell.com. And she's an amazing personality, an amazing agent. And Kahana Sunset, an oceanfront property, short-term rentals. It's got everything you would ever want on it. Access to a small beach, 4.5 acres, beautifully, beautifully landscaped, really spectacular. Roy, I hate to tell you this, that we have gone through this so quickly that we are down to the 2-minute warning. This is like a football game. We are down to the 2-minute warning.
Oh, my goodness.
So maybe you could toss out one more property, and then let's think about what it is, what the message is that we like to leave with everyone.
Yeah. Well, quickly, 102 Woodrose at Pineapple Hill. It's currently the only available listing at Pineapple Hill. It's a 3-bedroom, 3.5 baths. Awesome views right at the top of Pineapple Hill. Listed at $2.7 million. Needs some work. It was built in 1988, but it's the view is just fantastic.
Going back to, we talked kind of a tiny bit about mortgages right now. And again, the interest rate makes a major difference for people. So talk to whoever you've dealt with in the past from the standpoint of real estate. Call us. You can reach us, Roy, at 870-7060. You can reach me at 870-7062. We'll direct you to a lender, and that's the first place to go. Talk to your banker if you've got someone. But get yourself started.
Get ready. Here's
Back
Danny
to
Couch.
Danny Couch. I love Hawaii. I wish I could sing and just sing along with him, but
We all love Hawaii.
I'm not going to ruin it. We do love Hawaii. Aloha, and thank you for listening. Aloha.